Well, now this makes no sense. No New Yorkers allowed. Believe it or not, that is the policy of some hotels right here in the city.
Yes, this is a story Fox 5 broke 2 months ago, and tonight, John Deutzman adds more hotels to the list and tracks down the man behind it all.
How many illegal operations do you have? Do you have any respect for the laws or the fire codes in the city? Can you answer my question?
Excuse me. We thought it was odd that the man running away from us, Hank Fried, who touts himself as some sort of hospitality guru, wasn't very hospitable to Fox 5.
Could you please get off my property?
On this website, Fried boasts of the chic hotel experience. Yeah, they left the E out. Others might not use the word chic. We're talking about the Broadway Hotel, the Marrakesh, and the Royal Park. They're all on the Upper West Side, they all have snazzy-looking websites, and they all have lots of strange stuff going on. Last fall, Wired with a Hidden Camera, a Fox 5 producer proved that the Broadway Hotel didn't allow people with New York ID to stay there.
You don't allow New York State residents?
No.
Why?
I'm not sure, but we don't. It's a hotel policy.
And recently at the Marrakesh, a clerk told us about the same seemingly wacky policy.
There's a policy the hotel has that we can't allow New York City residents in here.
Oh.
The Royal Park is another hotel Hank Fried owns.
He's saying there's a problem because he's a New York State resident?
Oh, yes.
A spokesman for Fried says that the No New Yorkers policy really comes from the fact that these places are intended exclusively for travelers. But current and former employees of Fried say it's more about fear that New Yorkers will know what the real deal is, that they could actually check into these places, demand a lease, and become tenants in a rent-stabilized apartment building. Yeah, according to the city, these places are not legal tourist hotels at all.
That's right. Despite all the fancy websites and seemingly legitimate hotel look to these places, and Fried's contention that his hotels are legit, the mayor's office says all three are illegal, cited for occupancy contrary to the certificate of occupancy. The mayor's office says these are still single-room occupancy buildings intended for residents, rent stabilized, and historically the last housing resort for poor people, like Franco Medina, who's lived in the Royal Park for 32 years. The reason he stayed so long is real simple. Listen how he nervously tells us how much his rent-stabilized rent is.
You know how much I pay a month?
How much?
$252 a month.
$252 a month.
Yeah.
$252 a month rent. But when residents like Franco move out, it gives the landlord, Hank Fried, a shot to rent rooms in his illegally converted hotels to tourists for more than $260 a night.
I'm from Serbia.
We're from Austria. You're coming from Egypt?
Yeah.
Most of the tourists we talked to say they found out about these places online. Some are willing to be crammed into bunk bed rooms for 8 people. It all seems on the up and up, but...
What's your biggest concern about that?
The biggest concern, first and foremost, is safety.
The mayor has a special task force going after illegal hotels, and according to the mayor's office, this place, the Broadway Hotel, as of last week, had a total of 31 fire, building, and health violations, including failure to comply with capacity exit requirements and evidence of vermin. More violations are pending. There's also $32,000 in unpaid fines. The Marrakesh has a total of 31 violations. Among them, failure to prevent interior fire spread and failure to provide a working smoke detector in every room, and $2,500 in unpaid fines. And the Royal Park, just recently inspected, has 16 violations, including failure to comply with exit doorway requirements and illegal gates obstructing fire escape windows.
31 violations.
We showed the tourists what the mayor's office showed us.
And it's not considered a legal tourist hotel.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Oh, I'm shocked.
It's weird.
It's weird, right?
Yeah.
And speaking of weird, trying to talk to Hank Fried about his so-called chic hotels was quite an experience.
The mayor's office says you're running a bunch of illegal hotels. Can you talk to me about these hotels? Can you answer my question?
Excuse me.
How many illegal operations do you have? Do you have any respect for the laws or the fire codes in the city? Why don't you answer my question?
Please get off my property. You're harassing me.
A spokesman for Fried says that Fried considers all of the hotels in our story to be perfectly legal, and that if infractions occur, they try to fix the problem as quickly as possible. They also say that none of the violations have ever endangered public safety. Now, the mayor's office says that Freed has started paying fines on the Broadway hotel here, but that only started after we did our first story on the place back in November. I'm John Deutzman, Fox 5 News.
Now, the city says it's trying to increase fines and change zoning laws to discourage illegal hotels, but right now the city doesn't have the ability to shut them down. Ernie.